Hey everyone, before we dive into today's episode, I have something truly important to share. In episode 305, I had the pleasure of interviewing Catherine Randabell, the brilliant mind behind the headbed. This product is revolutionizing hair salons, especially for young stroke survivors. Imagine going to the salon and worrying about the risk of another stroke because of neck strain during a simple hair wash. It's a fear that many stroke survivors live with, and the headbed was created to address this very concern, offering peace of mind and safety. With proper neck and head support, you can relax knowing your health is being looked after, reducing the risk of arterial damage and the anxiety that comes with it. Now, I'm passionate about stroke prevention and safety, which is why I'm excited to support the headbed. Catherine explained how its design prevents dangerous neck hyperextension, a common issue that can increase stroke risk. The headbed means that you can finally enjoy a trip to the salon without fear. If you're a stroke survivor or know someone who is, the headbed is a game changer. Don't let the fear of neck strain and stroke keep you from enjoying a salon visit. Be sure to check out episode 305 for my full interview with Catherine and discover how this product can provide the reassurance you need. For our listeners in the United States, visit headbedusa.com to get yours today and feel safe during your salon visits. Welcome to episode 314 of the Recovery After Stroke podcast. Today, we have an inspiring story of resilience and determination as we chat with Neetu Mehra. At the age of 44, Neetu experienced an ischemic stroke despite leading a healthy lifestyle. Her journey began with a sudden and unexpected symptom, leading to a 12-hour ordeal before receiving medical attention. Join us as Neetu shares her incredible recovery story from dealing with paralysis and multiple blood clots to making significant progress in her physiotherapy and occupational therapy. This episode is a testament to the power of perseverance, the importance of support from loved ones, and the never-ending hope for recovery. Let's dive into Neeta's story and learn how she navigates the challenges and triumphs of stroke recovery. Neetu Mehra, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Bill. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Tell me a little bit about what happened to you.
So I had an ischemic stroke. I'm 44 years old, otherwise pretty healthy and fit. Like I took care of myself, work out, practice yoga, go for walks. I had a pretty healthy lifestyle in terms of like eating habits and stuff. I had no metabolic risk factors, and I had an ischemic stroke.
That was just a few months ago.
This was in February, yeah, 5 months ago.
On the day of the stroke, were there any signs or symptoms, anything before the stroke that kind of gave you some sort of an idea that things were not right or there was a couple of issues happening?
Yeah, so the night before the stroke, I was getting my things ready for my clothes ready for work the next day, and I noticed that I was seeing stars from my left eye. Only from my left eye. I saw like a cloud of stars forming. And I thought that was a bit odd. I've had visual issues in the past, but nothing quite like that. And I just thought, okay, if it persists in the morning, then I'll go to emergency. There's like an eye clinic. So I thought it was an eye issue maybe. And then I woke up the next morning, like the day of my stroke, and I mean, who knows, maybe I was having the stroke in the middle of the night.
And
Um, and then when I woke up the next day, I was opened my blinds as usual. I got out of bed, went to get ready. Um, to me, like it was nothing, everything was fine. I wasn't seeing the stars that I saw from the night before. So I thought, okay, that's fine. No need to address whatever issue was happening. And then I went to get ready. And as I was getting ready, I was supposed to be at a work conference for 9:30 in the morning. And my manager called me saying, "Hey, we started an hour ago. Where are you?" And I thought, there's no way. It's not even 8 a.m. yet. Because in my mind, I had no concepts of time. Like I thought I was going to be there on time. And I was like getting ready. And then after I when I spoke back to her, I said, "Okay, I didn't realize the time." And I said something and I realized that I slurred my words. So at that point, I thought, "Okay, that's really weird. I sound like I'm drunk or something." And it's first thing in the morning. It sounded really odd. Then we hung up the phone. She texted me saying it was hard to understand what I was saying. So I texted her back with a very well put together text saying, "My stomach hurts, my head hurts, but I'm coming." Like my intention was to drive over. And then I actually was able to take a shower fine. And then I got out of the shower and I was trying to put in my contact lenses. My right one went in fine. My left one, it took me like 3 attempts. And it was really hard to open the packet as well. And I realized that something was wrong with like my fingers seemed a little off. So I was trying and I on the third attempt, I think I got it in. I also felt extremely tired. I don't know why, like extreme fatigue. Like I just had to lie down. And I have low blood pressure, so I thought maybe I just need to like lie down. But I didn't want to lie down in bed because I was determined to get to the work conference. So I thought, okay, let me just lie down on the floor. I live in a condo by myself. So I went and I lay down on the hardwood floor after getting out of the shower. I hadn't put my clothes on yet, and I left my phone in the bathroom. So I actually left it. I completely forgot it there, and I was laying on the floor for quite a long time. And when I realized a lot of time was passing, I thought, okay, I should probably try getting myself up, get ready, and go. And I thought, okay, if only I could just turn over onto my hands and knees. I know I can push myself up because I'm physically strong enough. I work out and stuff, so I'm like I know my strength and my physical abilities. And I was laying there and I thought, okay, this is so bizarre. How come I can't? And I tried to reach up with my arm, my good arm, and I wasn't able to get myself up. And by that time, lots of time had passed. And at one point, I realized that I can't do this on my own. I need help getting up. So it just crossed my mind, like, who do I call? And how do I call them? Because my phone is not with me. And then hours had passed. And during that time, my manager had called me and texted me, and I never responded to her because my phone wasn't near me. So she had reached out to my emergency contact, which was my mom, and then she was not able to connect with her. It went to voicemail. So then she decided not to leave a message in case my parents were traveling. And then hours had passed and the day had gone by, and I realized that it was getting dark out. So I was like, okay, lots of time has passed now. I just wanted to stay awake and keep myself awake. So mentally, I'm just thinking like, what's going on? And in my mind, it crossed my mind at one point. I'm like, maybe it's a stroke because I slurred my words, but I didn't quite remember all the other signs of a stroke. I wasn't really as aware of it at the time. Now I know. At the time, I
Mm.
had no idea. So then the evening came and my HR called my mom saying that I didn't show up to work. So obviously my mom's panicking. So she's calling my friends. They're calling me, and obviously I'm not responding. And then they called the condo building, and the security checked and they saw that my car was in the parking spot. And they knocked on my door. And they're not allowed to answer the door. They're not allowed to go into the side the door without paramedics or cops with them. And I heard them knocking, but my I was lying down in my bedroom, which was like the exact opposite corner. So it was too far away from them, from the door. So they wouldn't be able to hear me. My voice is quiet normally, and it was even more quiet that day. So then, my parent, I think my mom knew something was off. So they got into the car. My parents came to the condo and they called 911. So the paramedics came and the condo security opened the door for when the paramedics came. So I was laying on the floor and thankfully I was still conscious and talking, and over 12 hours had passed by this time. So I was
Without
laying
it,
on the floor by
without
myself
any clothes.
without any clothes on the hardwood floor. Yeah, for 12 hours.
Wow.
And mentally I was just trying to stay awake. I knew something was off, but I didn't know what it was.
Were you aware that you were not clothed? Had you,
Yes.
okay, you're aware of that, but didn't really bother you. Didn't seem to be an issue that there was no clothes on. You were just trying to stay awake so that
Yeah,
you could remain conscious. Were you
exactly.
afraid that if you fell asleep, you wouldn't wake up? Was there something like that happening at all?
I didn't quite get to that thought, but now that I think about it, I
Mm,
definitely think that I don't know that I would have made it if I would have fallen asleep.
mm.
Just mentally, I thought, okay, I have to get to this work thing, so I need to stay awake. And then
So they
I
get,
need to get up.
yeah, they get you to the hospital. Well, before I go there, I can relate to what you're saying about time.
Mhm.
So when I came out of hospital after my second bleed, um, time sort of stopped to exist as we know it. There was no actual
Yeah.
4 hours, or it took 3 hours. But I do remember trying to type an email once, thinking that I was doing a really great job and being at my desk for the entire day, and having only managed to put out a few lines, and
Mhm.
I think not even send the email across. I didn't even know. I don't even know if I managed to get it out. But there was no concept of hours or minutes or anything like that. It was
No,
just
nothing.
a long time. There was just a long
A
stretches, and I
long
don't.
stretch of time. Yeah.
Yeah, and I couldn't grasp how long. And I knew from what other people were doing around me that it was time to go home, for example, because everybody else was
Mhm.
going home. That was kind of the aftermath of the second bleed when it was impacting a whole bunch of other things for me. So I kind of understand what your state was like. So they've come in
Yeah.
and they've assessed you immediately and taken you to hospital. What what happened after
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. So they came in, the paramedic brought a towel for my bathroom and then helped me put some clothes on. And then they were deciding which hospitals to take me to, and they took me to the stroke hospital in Toronto. And then when I got there, it was a little bit foggy. Like the ambulance ride there was a little bit foggy, but when I got there, I was coherent again, and someone came in and was like, "We're gonna do this procedure on you. You had a stroke. You have some blood clots in your head." She asked me to sign a piece of paper to do a thrombectomy, where they go in through like your artery to suck out the blood clot. And so I asked them the success rate. I was like, "What is the success rate?" And they said 85%. So I was coherent enough to ask intelligent questions, which was good. And then I signed it, and they did the procedure. And I think they only partially sedated me because I could hear what they were saying. And I heard them say, like, they went up in there and they said, "Oh, there's a second clot." So there was two blood clots in my head. And after that, I just felt like a massive, like already had a bad headache, but it was a worse headache. So the one of the blood clots burst. So then it was a bleed.
So the blood vessel was then bleeding?
Yes, the blood clot was bleeding. So then I had a massive bleed in my head.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And then I had an arterial dissection as well. So the artery dissected, like in
Well,
my neck.
you got
I got the whole package.
the whole package, my gosh.
Yeah.
So
If you've had a stroke and you're in recovery, you'll know what a scary and confusing time it can be. You're likely to have a lot of questions going through your mind. Like, how long will it take to recover? Will I actually recover? What things should I avoid in case I make matters worse? Doctors will explain things, but obviously you've never had a stroke before. You probably don't know what questions to ask. If this is you, you may be missing out on doing things that could help speed up your recovery. If you're finding yourself in that situation, stop worrying and head to recoveryafterstroke.com, where you can download a guide that will help you. It's called 7 Questions to Ask Your Doctor About Your Stroke. These 7 questions are the ones Bill wished he'd asked when he was recovering from a stroke. They'll not only help you better understand your condition, they'll help you take a more active role in your recovery. Head to the website now, recoveryafterstroke.com, and download the guide. It's free.
you're coherent enough to hear all of that stuff. Did they say there's a bleed, or did they give you that type of information, or was that kept?
Not at the moment. Like I didn't hear that part.
Mhm.
I just felt the massive headache, like the pain, and I was like, for
Uh-huh.
days, I was in the intensive care unit at the hospital for like 9 days, and I was in so much pain, and I was getting bags of ice for my head. It was just so painful.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And then what was recovery like? How long did you stay in hospital?
So I was in the intensive care for about just over a week, and then I went to acute care for 3 weeks to a different hospital, and that's where they did tons of tests and scans and everything. They're checking my body inside and out because I have no risk factors. Made no sense at all,
And they
and
were
they
trying
didn't.
to work out the cause of the
Yeah,
clot.
yes. They have found more clots in my body. They found a clot in my kidney and 2 in my lungs. So they're trying to figure out what came first and what came second. They think, like, perhaps it could have been like a clot that broke into a cluster of clots and spread through my body and went up to my head.
Having been created or formed elsewhere
Mhm.
first, not
Exactly.
necessarily created or formed in your head.
Yep. And they think the 2 clots in my lungs could have been from laying in bed for a week after the initial clots. So I've been
Right.
tested for clotting disorders and everything, but I've tested negative for everything.
Wow.
Yeah. So they still don't know the source or the cause.
Huh.
Yeah. And they kept me in. I felt like a science experiment. They just kept me in there, and I kept
Mm.
going for new MRIs and scans and other tests.
Tell me about your life before stroke. What kind of work did you do? How did you occupy your time?
Mhm. I work in marketing for a bank, but I think I was doing a pretty good job of managing like work-life balance, like work projects, and I wasn't overly stressed. Like I think life was pretty good before this. Um, yeah, so I had work-life balance. I was very focused on like my health and exercise and things like that. So I was working out all the time, practicing yoga, going for walks outside, eating healthy, non-smoker. Um, I had a good balance of like spending time with family and friends, and life was pretty good. I traveled a lot too.
For work?
No, for fun,
Oh, for fun. Okay.
for fun.
Yeah. Okay. So you're pretty active. Everything was a-okay.
Everything was fine. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now things are quite different. So how how do you go about your day now? What level of activity are you back to, if any?
So basically, I have left side paralysis. So it impacted. So while I was in the hospital, I was basically in bed the whole time. I started rehabilitation. I went to rehab hospital for 2 months after that, for about like almost 8 weeks. So then I spent like a total of 3 months in like hospitals and in care. And the rehab hospital was good because it got me moving, and getting up and doing physiotherapy and occupational therapy. And I still go there for outpatient therapy, which is great. So now I'm able to walk with a cane, which is great. My left arm and left hand is not functional at all. I can move it a little bit, but not too much. So I'm still working hard. So every day I'm doing exercises at home. So I wasn't able to go back to my condo and live there because I need help with a lot of things. So my parents and my brothers worked hard to have some renovations done to the house so I could move in with my parents again.
Hmm.
And they're elderly too, so it's like I thought I would be the one coming to take care of them, but they're taking care of me now.
Hmm.
Yeah.
How old are your parents?
They're in their 70s, 75 and 78.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah.
Are they fit and well?
They're feeling okay. I mean, they're tired all the time. They've
Yeah.
got a lot going on. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. My parents are similar age. My mum's 78 and my dad's 82. And yeah, I can't imagine
Yeah.
them being able to cope with, firstly, their child is unwell.
Yeah.
That was a big issue. And then just they're just not as fit and active as they used to be. So it's always going to be
Yeah.
difficult. And they more than anything want you to get better. So they're going to put all their effort in as much as they possibly can to get you better. And
Exactly.
they're probably not even thinking about it, but I imagine you are thinking about it. You are. It does cross your mind that you're in the situation that you're in and that they have to do what they're doing. Is it something that you have to grapple with?
Yeah, I mean, I think about it. It must be so hard for them. And the fact that they're older, they're not in the best shape either. It's definitely exhausting.
Mm.
Yep.
How old were you at the time?
Of the stroke,
Mm.
44.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yep.
And you'd been independent for many, many years, probably
Yes.
moved out of home much younger.
Yep. Yeah. A while ago.
Hmm.
So it's a big life change coming back and being dependent on people now.
Hmm.
Even in terms of like, you can't just step out and go for a walk or step out and go be my friends. Like it's everything's very planned and people come to me now. It's very different. Like I can't drive. My driver's license is suspended as well.
Is there some kind of hope that you'll be getting a driver's license back at some stage? Are you thinking
I
of
think
going
so.
after that particular goal?
That is definitely a goal of mine because my right side is fine. And they have like you can add in accessories to make your vehicle adaptable.
Hmm.
And thankfully, my memory is completely fine. And my vision, I haven't had a vision test, but it seems okay. My peripherals are okay.
Hmm. And what about your work? Have you managed to get back to work? Are you doing any work at the moment?
Not yet, no. So I'm on leave from work right now. I definitely miss it. Like I miss the interactions and like using my brain and doing work and stuff. But yeah, that'll be I think a little bit of time. I just get tired when I have like long days. It's exhausting.
Hmm. Fatigue.
So I'm yeah, fatigue, yeah. I'm definitely focused on physiotherapy and occupational therapy. So I
Yeah.
go there a few times a week and I have pool therapy as well, which is great.
And what have you noticed with regards to your condition? So at the beginning, therapy would have been really hard to do, and now it's
Yep.
probably still hard. But I imagine you made some gains. You've developed some
Lots of
additional
gains.
strength and some.
Yep.
Tell me a little bit about what's different between when you started and where you are now.
I mean, the fact that I can walk with a cane is fantastic. In the house, I used to have a wheelchair all the time and even be wheeled to the bathroom and things like that. Now I just walk there on my own, so I can walk independently from room to room, which is great. I've even climbed a flight of stairs, which is fantastic. That's brand new for me. So I climb up sideways and I go down forwards because of the railing is only on the left side when I go up the stairs.
Uh-huh.
And then they've retrofitted the house to add a chairlift. So the chairlift goes to the basement. So I've been sleeping in the basement. So that's good. And then yeah, so even at physiotherapy, I've been practicing walking without a cane once in a while. So that's a goal of mine for sure to walk properly again without a cane.
Hmm. And it hasn't been a long time. It's very early on.
No, yeah, it's 5 months.
Do you have a? Excuse me one sec. Do you have a sense of how long you expect this recovery to take? Where are you at with your mindset? What are you thinking about recovery? And what is your day to day life telling you about what your thoughts are?
So I'm not sure because whenever I ask a doctor or physiotherapist, they don't want to answer that question and they won't guarantee that I'll be recovered fully. So I know that I'm very determined. So I'm working hard every single day. I'm not really sure on the timelines.
Yeah. That's good. I'd rather you didn't have a timeline because a lot of what happens for a lot of stroke survivors, they have a timeline that they set perhaps in their head, or doctors said you'll be up on your feet in 6 months or 12 months or something like that. and then they don't meet the timeline, and then they get really down on themselves, which is not a reflection on them. It's just a reflection on the condition that they are recovering from. So
Yeah.
I like to tell people to have goals. My goal is to drive again. My goal is to do all these things again, but not to put a timeline on it, so that you're still always forever working towards the goal, but you're not limiting yourself and then potentially getting to the point where you feel a little bit down on yourself because you haven't met your unrealistic timeline. And that's the thing about it. Most timelines or deadlines would be unrealistic because your stroke is different from everybody else's. You're different from everybody else. So you can't really say it's not a broken bone, for example, that you break the bone, you put it in a cast, you're out for 6 weeks, and then after that, the cast comes off and you rehabilitate that particular bone, that limb for a little bit, and then you're back on board. It's a little bit different. It's slow and steady wins the race in this type of situation. It's definitely going to take longer than 5 months. And you can see that in 5 months, you've made a lot of gains and you'll continue to do so. So by 12 months, you'll be a lot further along, perhaps not exactly driving yet, maybe not, but the training and the effort that you're putting in now is definitely going to pay dividends. But then at the same time, you don't want to overdo it because you want to make sure that your fatigue is not debilitating to the extent that you can't get up and get around and do the things that you want to do. And at the same time, sometimes you want to push yourself beyond the limit so you can see, how far further you can go before you're completely exhausted. And then just allow yourself the time to become, to rest as much as you possibly can.
Yeah, that's one thing I think I didn't have a concept of rest before my stroke. You just keep going, live life. And it's the physiotherapists that are like, okay, take a rest, take a break. So I do that now when I'm doing my exercises, and that'll take a little rest.
Yeah.
Keep going. Yeah.
You want to give the brain some time to recover because your muscles and your limbs and your legs and all that kind of stuff, they can keep going and going and going. It's your brain that has to recover now. Whereas before, you didn't ever gave any thought to physical exertion making your brain tired. You never, not once did you
Yeah.
think about that. But that's what it's doing now. So your body might want to keep going, but your brain needs time to recuperate and rest. Are you experiencing any other complications from the strokes other than your left side deficits? I mean, I know the fatigue is there
Um,
and you're not working yet, but like any other
yeah.
medical complications?
My smile is not back yet. So I went to the speech therapist actually this week, and I'm starting speech therapy as well, so I can work on getting my smile back. And she also noticed there's like I'm missing some like tone in my voice. I noticed that my voice is a little quieter than before, and it's the vocal cords I think are folded. They're not even. So she can notice that.
Uh-huh.
So I'm working on that too. In terms of other health, like they're checking my heart one more time because they don't know the cause, and their theory is atrial fibrillation, but there's no data to prove that. But when I was in the hospital, I had my heart checked multiple times inside and out, and it was fine.
Yeah.
But I did notice that before the stroke, when I would run on treadmill, my heart would beat really, really fast. So I noticed that there was something off about that. And even sometimes running up a flight of stairs would make my heart beat really, really fast, and it just wouldn't stop.
Uh-huh.
So maybe something to do with that.
Okay. And you made them aware of that particular thing that you had noticed.
I have, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's probably a good place to start. The thing about it is there usually is a cause. Whether they come across the cause or find the cause,
Yep.
that's another thing. But I would suggest that you keep going for these tests and you keep getting used as a medical experiment so that eventually, whether it's a second opinion, a third opinion, a fourth opinion, eventually you come to the point where perhaps somebody discovers what the cause is, even though it takes a long time. Just do that. I know that you'd be in a situation now where they're giving you preventative medication, so you'd be on blood thinners to make
Yep.
sure that another clot doesn't occur. That's a really awesome protocol because that does actually make a massive difference to the blood and the way that it flows and the fact that it stops it from clotting. So that's a really good thing.
Mm.
Um, and then you've got a lot of skills in keeping yourself well and healthy because of all the stuff that you did before you became
Yep.
unwell. Um, so, what kind of things have you implemented now, or is it just business as usual as far as your nutrition and your the way you go about life? Just a quick break, and we'll be right back with the interview. Now, imagine a life where the impossible becomes possible, where the challenges of stroke recovery transform into a story of triumph and growth. This is my story, and I've captured it all in my new book, The Unexpected Way That a Stroke Became the Best Thing That Happened. I know firsthand the emotional roller coaster of stroke recovery, the fear, the uncertainty, the frustration. I've been there. And through my journey, I discovered that a stroke, while devastating, could become a catalyst for profound personal growth and positive change. In this book, I share my deeply personal story and that of another 9 stroke survivors, offering you a roadmap to not only navigate your recovery, but to thrive in ways you never thought possible. Are you ready to turn your challenges into opportunities, to find strength in your struggles? The Unexpected Way That a Stroke Became the Best Thing That Happened is more than a book. It's your companion on this journey, a source of inspiration, and a testament to the power of the human spirit. To get your copy from Amazon today, follow the links in the YouTube description or visit recoveryafterstroke.com/book and embark on a transformative journey toward a brighter, more empowering future because the best chapters of your life are yet to be written.
Yeah, nutrition, I'm pretty health conscious. I was before, but I'm even more now. And even in terms of like doing my exercises and physio every single day, I'm pretty diligent with that. And then also making sure I'm hydrated. And I used to meditate a lot before, so I'm trying to keep that going as well. I find it a little bit harder to focus on my meditations.
How was that? Tell me
Maybe
why.
maybe because of like it was the right side of my brain that was affected. It was the right side MCA stroke. So that's your creative meditative side too.
Uh-huh.
So I feel like before I used to be able to get into really deep meditation quite easily. Now it's a little bit more challenging, but I still keep at it in practice.
That sounds
And
like
I
a
try,
really good exercise regime for your brain.
mhm. And I try to sit outside in nature on the nice days, and I take in the greenery. And the thing is, before like the stroke, I used to like to go for walks outside. Now I'm not really doing that yet. Although sometimes I have like friends or family take me for a stroll around the street in the wheelchair,
Mhm.
which is nice, just to get
So
the
with
nature.
your walking, is it safe walking? And when you're walking around the house, do you feel safe
I do. Yeah, I feel safe. And then I walk laps in the house as well every day just to get the momentum.
around the kitchen furniture, around the tables and
Yeah,
lounges?
the kitchen, living room, and hallway area. Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds like next time somebody comes over to take you around the block with a wheelchair, maybe you leave the wheelchair behind or take it with you and then do a few steps without the wheelchair and then have the wheelchair there as a backup just to get you back if you get really tired.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I did that once. But yeah, that's a good thing to start practicing again.
Have you spent much time out of the house? And I'm talking about, have you, taken the wheelchair and got into one of those wheelchair friendly taxis and gone down to your local grocery shops or anything like that?
Honestly, not too much. I haven't gone. I think I went to grocery store once or twice, but not by myself. And I haven't done anything on my own yet. I always have people with me, which is good.
Yeah, with people. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about other deficits? Do you experience any issues with light or sound or a lot of people or any of that stuff? Do you have any other types of deficits that impact your energy levels?
I think a lot of people. I went to like my first party a few weeks ago. It was an outdoor get together. I was definitely very tired after, and it was overwhelming seeing a lot of people at once. Before the stroke, I already had sensitivity to light. Yeah, I've always had sensitivity to light.
Uh-huh.
Like I like sunlight, but I don't like bright artificial lights.
The fluorescent kind, which is like hospital
Yes,
lights.
yes. So I've been one to like often sit in the dark or sit without the lights off.
Was it causing you headaches? Was it causing you fatigue? What was it causing?
Just like my eyes would tear up if it was too bright.
Uh-huh.
So my eyes always felt sensitive to the light. Yeah.
So,
Sometimes headaches, but not very often.
mm, but the sun wasn't an issue. You could go out, spend as much time out in the sun as much as you needed, but not indoors in a artificially
As
lit
long as I
room.
had sunglasses on.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like that now. Uh, Sunglasses and the sun, they go hand in hand. I very rarely take them off when I'm at the beach. For example, I will make sure that I'm wearing sunglasses in the water. And I've done that for many years, even before stroke. Um, and I spent some time after I first went back to work. Um, Initially, the work that I went and did was in an office, and in that office they had bright fluorescent lights above everybody's head. Basically, there was hundreds of them in that damn building. I used to walk in there with my sunglasses and keep my sunglasses on, and sometimes wear a hat because it was too bright above my head, and it would really impact my ability to work, especially with the monitor, two monitors, one on each side. It was very challenging. And I remember the light above my head went out, and they got the maintenance guy in to go around the office and change all the lights that were out. And thankfully, when I was at my desk and he came to replace the light, I said to him, just leave it out because I prefer it without the light. So then there's this whole brightly lit up office, but above my head is this a respite from this little dark spot. And it made a massive difference to the way that I felt.
Yeah, I can relate to that for sure. Even before the stroke at my old office, there used to be bright lights, and I had a similar situation where the light went out, and I was like, don't fix it. I was happy with it not being on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how come it took so long to get th- speech therapy? Was it something that you guys just didn't realize that you needed, or how did it get to that point where it's taken you 5 months to get there?
It's funny, I asked the same question. So I had a speech therapist come and do a swallow test when I was in the hospital, and I passed the swallow test. Even like they wanted to put a feeding tube on me, and I was like, no way. I love food too much. There's no way I'm getting a feeding tube.
Was that early
So I
on
had
when you were first admitted?
early on when I was first admitted, yeah,
They asked you for a feeding tube?
they wanted to put a feeding tube on. They said they're going to put a feeding tube, and I said, no, thank you.
Wow.
And then I was having thickened liquids and like mashed potato type food for like weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And then when I passed the swallow test, eat solid foods, that was great. I was very excited. Just happy to be able to eat real food again.
So for safety purposes, they wanted to keep you not eating food in case you choked.
Yep.
Did you feel there was any difficulty in swallowing back then? Did you have any concerns about that? Were you taking more care?
There was at the beginning. I just remember I wanted to just have like a cup of tea without a thickener in it. And that took a while to happen. But yeah, I was definitely taking more care. Like at the very early days, the first week, I was being spoon fed the liquids and the mushy food. Yeah.
As if
And
hospital
then when
food isn't bad enough, they
I
then turn
know.
it into mush.
Exactly. Yeah. The hospital food was actually better than the food at rehab. The rehab hospital food was terrible.
Yeah. I think they must
Even
do it
at the
on purpose
hospital,
in
I kept
rehab to get you out of there.
to get you out. Yeah. I kept telling them they need to get a new chef.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of the strange things about food is that it makes such a difference on the health of a person, food, and it makes such a difference in how you feel on a daily basis. And
Yeah.
with people going through any medical condition, in our case, stroke, you, you want to have the best version, the best quality food you could possibly have. Flavor, I can kind of understand if they're not awesome on flavor, but it really needs to be good food. And
Mhm.
even if it's not a lot of it, it needs to be good quality so that,
Nutritious.
yeah, so that it can
Yeah.
help people heal and overcome and recover.
Yeah. I completely agree. Thankfully, I had lots of friends and family bring some home cooked meals. So I was eating well, better than what they provided me with at rehab and
Yeah,
at the hospital.
that's such a blessing, isn't it? I had the same thing. My
Yes,
parents would
it is.
deliver food on the daily, make food, bring it over in the morning, and then I would have it for lunch instead of um, the hospital food. And when they didn't come with food, it was a challenge to eat that stuff because I was spoilt by them. Um,
Yep.
Good times. Tell me about your journey. Right, so you're 5 months out. Everything is different from what it was 5 months ago, and you're already on a podcast talking about
Mhm.
your situation. Now, that's really cool. I think that the people who have great recovery outcomes, and what I mean by that is that they are mentally and emotionally doing really well some years down the road after stroke, even if their physical condition isn't, we'll call it 100%, if it's not exactly like it was before stroke. I feel like they have better outcomes, people that are active in the space of kind of seeking out people who are understand them, who are like them. Tell me about your thinking around discovering things about stroke or learning about stroke or finding people that are like us that understand what you're going through. What's your thinking behind that?
Yeah, I've joined some stroke groups and I went to an in-person meeting this week actually with a charity, so that was pretty good. I'm trying to seek out people that have had similar strokes and just get advice. And I've even connected with somebody in the UK as well, so overseas for me, who had a similar stroke at a similar age. So it's just nice to get advice and chat with people that are going through similar situations. Because I feel like my life just got taken away from me out of the blue all of a sudden. Because like everything in my life has changed basically. It's like I'm glad I actually lived a good life before in terms of like, I had a good childhood. I lived in my 20s and 30s. I traveled a lot. I focused on my career. I did a lot with my life. And I just feel like now it's like reintegrating into the world as like a disabled person. It's very different as an adult versus if you've grown up like that as a kid. So I find it challenging,
Fair amount of adjustment.
a lot of adjustment.
Mm.
also just what I could do for myself before versus now. Very, very different.
Yeah. And that adjustment is physical, but also it's a mental adjustment. It's like
Yeah.
how you think about yourself and how you talk about yourself to yourself and how you comprehend all of the challenges that you're facing and how you find the guts and determination and how you become resilient to tackle all of the challenges that strokes thrown your way, because it's not just one challenge, it's not just one you know, injured leg, it's an injured
Half
body.
my body. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. How is that for you? How do you navigate that part of your recovery, you know, the thinking part of it and the emotional part of it?
The thinking part of it, I feel like I'm pretty rational and logical, so I think that part is okay. It's just like reintegrating into society and doing the things I used to enjoy doing, that part's a bit hard. Especially like I can't go to a yoga studio anymore and do that. Although I found like online adaptive yoga classes, which is great. So I'm just trying to do some of the stuff I used to do. It's funny, the people that don't know me think that my smile is fine.
Yeah.
Then I look at my old photos.
And you compare yourself
Yep.
and you know there's a difference, but you probably also feel a difference on your face.
Yeah. My face was very numb for a long time.
Yeah.
Getting a little better, but it felt really numb.
I didn't notice until you told me that there was an issue. I didn't notice anything. Um, I'm not sure if that's a consolation,
Mm.
but it looks like it's coming good. Like, did you have the droop on that left side?
I did. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people that see me say I look a lot better than I did before.
Okay, so it's improved in the
It's
last five
improved a lot.
months.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I try to massage my face too.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
A little bit of external stimulation to try and get
Yep.
blood flowing and get things happening.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think you're on a good path forward. Like, I think that all the things that you're doing are definitely going to help in some way, shape, or form. To what extent? Well, that remains to be seen. But the fact that you're putting so much time and effort into doing some major things, like, you know, making sure you do your physical exercise and all that kind of stuff, and then some minor things like massaging your face, all those things, they add up in time. They make a massive difference.
Hmm.
Um, and a year and a half from now, you know, you'll have made a lot more gains um, than you currently have. But like I said, 5 months out, it's just at that time when you've stubbed your toe on the kitchen bench, you know, and it really, really hurts. That's how soon it is for you in the terms of like the stroke recovery timeline.
Yep.
It may as well be just a few days out of that particular foot injury, because that's how long it takes for the brain to heal,
Yep.
recover, get back online. And you've really got to be the person who makes who's in control of your recovery or who's guiding your recovery. If you're passive, sitting around waiting for physical therapy before you've done any exercises, your recovery will take longer because physical therapy is not enough. It's great that you go there because they can measure things and they can guide you and they can give you advice on the right form and the right way to go about things. But if you were passive in your recovery, it would take a lot longer for you to achieve some of those goals that you want to achieve, which is to be out and about on your own or to be driving.
Yep.
So there's a lot of good signs there. And at the same time, with the medical interventions of, you know, the blood thinners and all the things that they're doing to keep you from having another clot, then it's all going to work out. Do you know, like it'll all
Yeah.
come together at some point in time, and you'll be able to look back and go, oh my God, all those things that were happening at the same time that seemed like they were really hard and I wasn't getting massive results, they've paid off now.
Mhm. Yeah. I think that everything happens for a reason, and we're given these things that we can deal with to make us stronger. And like whatever happens to people, I think happens for like a reason. I don't
Mm.
know my reason yet, but I will eventually.
Do you think that's sort of tied into your purpose? The reason that it occurred is tied into your purpose?
It could be like my purpose of, yeah, like clearly I survived for a reason. Like I was on the floor for 12 hours. That's not
Mm.
like common to survive something like that.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what the reason that I survived was. I don't know like the reason, but I did wonder why I had survived. Like it really crossed my mind early on. Like I had survivor's guilt.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's a thing that you're familiar with, but like it was like,
Hmm.
why did I survive? I didn't know whether I was worthy or whether I had
Hmm.
earned it, or now what am I going to do? I'm alive. What the hell am I going to do now? Like, how am I going to go about my life? And this podcast might be a result of that. It might be one of the things that maybe I had to achieve or do or put out there because I survived and because I was giving another chance. You know, I just can't go back to being my old mundane self, um, and be who I was before that. Like it just didn't seem like enough.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like the right thing to do.
I think your podcast is great. You're adding a lot of resources and valuable information for so many people.
Mm.
Do you feel that's your purpose now?
I do. I call it my purpose. The old me definitely didn't do a podcast, didn't interview people, didn't interact with people who had experienced something like a stroke or another disability or an injury or anything like that. I interacted, with, we'll call them normies, normal people
Yeah.
who were all just okay. And it was just a matter of time, I think, before I ended up interacting with people who are unwell. Just happened to be, I was young, I was 37, so I had not known anybody who was in my family, a member of our family, extended family or otherwise, who were our friends who were injured by anything. I don't know how you get to 37 and avoid all of that, but I managed to avoid it. and and then when it happened to me and I met a whole bunch of other people who had strokes through the Stroke Foundation, um, I quickly realized that there's a lot more people out there that are like me than I thought. And being with them in their, and sort of experiencing life through them, because I spent some time in a wheelchair. Like I understood what stroke does to people, but then interacting with these people kind of gave me more of an insight. And then I was really shocked about the fact how naive I was, like how dumb I was. And it wasn't my fault. I don't know what the word is. I don't know if the right term is I had a
You
dream
probably
run or what, but
you probably just weren't exposed to those types of situations before. Same with
yeah,
me. I never interacted with these types of people or until the stroke.
yeah. And then I felt more connected to people from the Stroke Foundation who I met at through the Stroke Foundation than I had ever felt with other people that I'd met. And then I had all this information about all, like yours, very proactive. I made a lot of health choices. I made a lot of physical activity choices. I did a whole bunch of things to make sure that I prevented the next stroke as much as I could, and that I wasn't responsible for the next one if it was to come, which it came a few times. And then, I had stuff to share, and I figured, well, these things have been really helpful for me, and how could I share these things that I've learned? So I started. Somebody challenged me to do more than just advocate in my neighborhood, and kind of said to me, there's this thing called the internet. You want to look into that? And I thought, okay, how could that work? And then I got over all the technology fears and all that type of stuff, and I just realized all I needed to do was get onto a Zoom call and press record, and then I had a video and an audio immediately, and that was really good for me. I was getting therapy every session that I was doing, and recording an interview. It was helping me, and it still does. And then the old me never wrote a book about anything. I hardly read a book until the age of 37. And then the idea for the book came into my head. I researched it, and it was such an organic thing. It might have taken 4 years, and I never would have thought that it would have taken me 4 years to write a book. But it's the navigating the fatigue, the lack of clarity, the inability to sit in front of the computer and type for hours and hours. It's navigating all of that stuff that made it take so long. But now that it's there and it's done and it's out, a whole bunch of feedback from people has been really positive. And every time I get some positive feedback about the podcast or the book, or the other stuff that I do around stroke, it does feel like a purposeful pursuit. It feels like a rewarding and fulfilling pursuit. And I never really had that before. It's rewarding to be a dad and to raise a family and to do all that kind of stuff. But that's more of an obligation. If you become a parent, you're obliged to ensure that your child is healthy, fed, has, roof, well educated, and all that kind of stuff. I feel like that's more of an obligation, even though it gives you a little bit of purpose in life. Because really quickly, the kids leave home, and then you're back to being yourself again. It only takes about 20 odd years before they're out of the house.
Mhm.
And that's a short amount of time. That's a kind of like a big distraction from your actual life's purpose. I feel like kids are a little bit of a distraction. You take down that path, and if you don't notice that you've put all your time and effort and your identity in being a parent, then it really catches you off guard later when they move out, because now you're not a parent anymore and you don't know what to do with yourself. So I was kind of lucky that all this transition, them moving out and me picking up these new skills and evolving, happened while they were, the stroke and that kind of happened when they were teenagers and they were coming of age. So my transition into this new identity, this new version of myself, this podcast and the book and all of that, came probably at the right time.
Mhm.
And I'm not sitting there now with an empty house and me and my wife wondering, what the heck, what do we do now? And I'm only 50. Like, can't imagine being, not having this particular pursuit. Perhaps I would have picked up something else. So let's be honest. Maybe I picked up something else to do on a Saturday morning, or um, a Friday evening or whatever. But I'm not sure. It would have been pretty hard to just go from being a parent to now they've moved out, and now what do I do? How do I go about things?
Yeah. Yes, I think everything happens for a reason.
What has been the hardest thing about stroke for you?
Coming to terms that it happened to me. just feeling that my body's completely different.
Did you do the why me?
Not really. It's almost like I'm taking one for the team because, like, statistically, like something like this happens to. I'm not sure what the stats are, but like I think yes, I'm the stat.
1 in 4 people will have a stroke in their lifetime.
Wow,
It's ridiculous.
that's pretty high.
80% of those strokes are ischemic.
Hmm.
About just above 20% of the people who have an ischemic stroke will pass away after the first one. About 60% of people who have a stroke will go back to work in some capacity. And then um, the other 20%, so I think I mentioned 20 or so, 60, and then the other 20 will not be able to go back to work in any capacity. So you feel like you're taking one for the team.
Yeah, yeah. One of my cousin's husbands said that to me, and I was like, oh, that's very true, because he lost his wife to cancer. It's like she took one for the team. So that was his thinking around it.
That helps. Why not?
Yep,
It's a big deal to take one for the team, to be that person.
yep,
The team doesn't even know that you've taken one for them.
true.
Mm. And what has stroke taught you?
That life is short. Might as well live it. And I feel like I'm happy that I lived before. Not that I won't live again, but like I didn't sit back and let life lead me. Like I was proactive about things. If I wanted to go travel to that place, I would make it happen. So I think it taught me that like you got to do what you want to do in the moment and don't wait, don't put things off.
I want to say that this is the state that you're in right now, like the zone that you're in right now is temporary.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that doesn't what that doesn't mean is that I know how long it'll take. It might take longer. It might take a year or two or longer. I don't know what, but it's temporary. Um, and in the span of a lifetime, it's a blip on the radar, really.
Yep.
But while you're in it, I mean, it's a little bit of a maybe for some people, it's not a big consolation for me to say what I'm saying. And if you can get through this time, time will fly. You know, you'll get to the other side and you'll go, oh my God, that was already, for me, as an example, it was already 12 years ago.
Wow. Okay.
It's insane that it's gone that quickly and that so much time has elapsed. There are some years in the middle there that are kind of vague, my vague years after the second bleed. I was quite vague. And about a year and a half after my third bleed and my brain surgery, I went through thyroidectomy. Part of my thyroid was removed. And that time was a bit of a hazy part as well. So I feel like in the last 12 years, I've lost maybe 18 months early on, and then I've lost kind of another 2 years after that. It just feels really bizarre and hazy, and I don't have a lot of connection to that time. I remember the day that I woke up and my foot felt numb like it was yesterday. And I just sometimes reflect back on it, how much time has passed, how long it felt for me to get to 12 years. And then also when I reflect back, like how quickly it went.
Mm-hmm.
And those hazy times when things were really rough, they really do seem like a blip on the radar now that it's been 12 years, because life has been because like you, I just go after everything. So it's been really full and rich for as long as possible. And I'm not saying that there hasn't been shit times. There has been, and there hasn't been down
Mhm.
times and bad moods and bad emotional states and crazy thinking patterns. Everything's been there. Um,
Mhm.
but it's been so full of a lot of other things like podcasts and writing a book. And in a few months, I'm going to do some presentations at some stroke conferences that um, I reflect on it positively. And that's kind of why the title of the book is The Unexpected Way That a Stroke Became the Best Thing That Happened, is like, because life's short, I've squeezed as much as I can in the last 12 years as I physically and emotionally could.
Mhm.
So this
That's
time,
great.
it's a blip in the radar.
Mhm. Yeah, because I think we can't control what happens to us, but we can control how we react to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely how we respond. What would you say to somebody listening who's going through what you're going through, who's early on in their recovery, or perhaps they're a little further down the track? What would be a little bit of advice that you would give somebody?
Don't be too hard on yourself. I often find I'm hard on myself before the stroke and now, and just work hard, but don't beat yourself up over things
What kind of things do you beat yourself up over?
too much. Just thinking like, why isn't my arm function or hand function coming back yet? It's like I'm trying, and I'm like, even when I'm walking, like I'm commanding for my foot to take a step in a certain spot. Sometimes it doesn't go where I want it to go. A couple of weeks ago, I had a fall too, which was not fun. It was a setback.
Did you get injured physically?
My left side was in a lot of pain. I had a big couple of big bruises on my left hip. Yeah. Overall, it's fine. Not that bad.
Mm.
Just
Was it
now
also
there's
an
that fear of
emotional
falling.
fear of falling?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fair enough.
And that was on a day where I was doing so good. Like I had just gone to physiotherapy and I tried walking without a cane, without supports, which was fantastic. And then I was taking a step into the house and I fell. So it was on
That's
a day where I was actually having a good day and I was progressing. And
Yep.
then it was,
And that's an example of pushing yourself beyond the limit, right? It's testing your
yep.
capabilities and learning the hard way that you're probably not there yet. But I think it feels like, when those things happen, like you've broken a little barrier anyway,
Hmm.
because you had such a good day, you were capable of doing things. And I've tripped over my left leg plenty of times, especially going upstairs, because my left
Hmm.
leg just a little less likely to clear the step at the right time. And if I'm not thinking about it, and if I'm rushing, the bottom of my shoe might just clip the step and I
Hmm.
fall over going up the step. But,
Yeah.
you do get better and you start to adjust, um,
Hmm.
and you start to do things a little differently automatically, and it will improve.
It's amazing how much focus it takes to even just walk or walk up steps in general. Yeah.
You have to think about what you're doing
You have to
rather than just do it.
concentrate. Yep.
Yeah. I had a fall in our house when my wife went back to work and the kids were at school. And I made myself some lunch and I was sitting at the couch eating it. And I had forgotten that my left leg was numb and it couldn't feel the ground underneath it. It was probably month 3 or 4 or something like that after brain surgery. And I laugh now, but it wasn't funny at the time. I got up and I went to take a step with my left leg, and the knee just collapsed underneath my weight. And I fell with my ribs onto the armrest of the couch, and the plate that I was holding went flying and smashed on the ground. And I ended up on the ground at home alone, feeling sorry for myself and definitely in pain. But that fall made me pay attention to me getting up off the couch from that day on. Every single day after that, I made sure that the first leg on the ground was my left leg, and that it's the one that got me up off the couch. And if it couldn't get me up, that meant that all I was going to do was fall backwards back onto the couch. So it was a really safe test to see if the leg was going to hold me.
Hmm.
And then that kind of made me just pay more attention. But it was a lesson I would have loved to learn in another way. I would have preferred to learn it without falling over and smashing my ribs. Thankfully, I wasn't.
Yeah.
I didn't break anything or get injured. But then even now, sometimes at 12 years out, if I'm having a really good night's sleep and I wake up in the morning, my leg is still a bit sleepy. It takes a little bit of time for it to warm up and come online. And if I get out of bed, because I get out, I sleep on the left side of the bed. If I get out and put my left leg down first, which is what I always do, and it's still sleepy, sometimes I could fall. I could kind of lose my balance getting out of bed. I have to make sure that when I get out of bed, both my legs are on the ground before I go to take that first step and before I stand up. So even getting out of bed, I have to be alert
Yeah.
so that I can make sure that I don't have a fall and end up in the wardrobe.
Hmm. Yeah, I feel like I'm more alert too since my fall. I'm very cautious and like mentally I'm trying to say like in my mind, my legs are going to support me. I'm strong enough. I have to say like positive things to myself
Mm.
and focus really, really hard.
I think you're on the right track, Neetu. I really appreciate you reaching out and coming on the podcast and sharing your story. I wish you well in your recovery, and I'd love to hear.
Thank you.
I'd love to hear 12 months from now how far along you've come. So feel free to reach out.
Sure. Okay, that sounds great. Thank you so much for having me, Bill. It was really nice chatting with you and hearing some of your story as well.
Well, that's it for another episode. Thank you so much for listening and being here. I really appreciate you. I do hope that you got something out of the interview. Remember, if you're interested in a copy of my book about stroke recovery, you can grab one at amazon.com by using my name, Bill Gessiamis, in the search bar, or by heading over to recoveryafterstroke.com/book. If you want to know more about my guests, visit recoveryafterstroke.com/episodes to find their social media links and to download a full interview transcript. A huge thank you to everyone who has left a review. It means the world to me. Your feedback is crucial for the podcast success, helping others discover this valuable content and making their stroke recovery journey a bit easier. If you haven't left a review yet, please consider giving a 5-star rating and sharing what the show means to you on iTunes and Spotify. For those watching on YouTube, please remember to leave a comment below each episode and subscribe to the show on your preferred platform to get notifications of future episodes. Are you a stroke survivor with a story to share? Now is the perfect time to join me on the show. The interviews are unscripted and require no preparation. Just be yourself and share your experience to help others in similar situations. If you have a commercial product that supports stroke survivors in their recovery, you can join me on a sponsored episode of the show. Simply visit recoveryafterstroke.com/contact, fill out the form with your category, and I'll get back to you with details on how we can connect via Zoom. Thanks again for being here and listening. Your support means everything to me. See you on the next episode.
Importantly, we present many podcasts designed to give you an insight and understanding into the experiences of other individuals. Opinions and treatment protocols discussed during any podcast are the individual's own experience, and we do not necessarily share the same opinion, nor do we recommend any treatment protocol discussed. All content on this website and any linked blog, podcast, or video material controlled this website or content is created and produced for informational purposes only and is largely based on the personal experience of Bill Gassiamis. The content is intended to complement your medical treatment and support healing. It is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice and should not be relied on as health advice. The information is general and may not be suitable for your personal injuries, circumstances, or health objectives. Do not use our content as a standalone resource to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease for therapeutic purposes or as a substitute for the advice of a health professional. Never delay seeking advice or disregard the advice of a medical professional, your doctor, or your rehabilitation program based on our content. If you have any questions or concerns about your health or medical condition, please seek guidance from a doctor or other medical professional. If you are experiencing a health emergency or think you might be, call 000 if in Australia, or your local emergency number immediately for emergency assistance, or go to the nearest hospital emergency department. Medical information changes constantly. While we aim to provide current, quality information in our content, we do not provide any guarantees and assume no legal liability or responsibility for the accuracy, currency, or completeness of the content. If you choose to rely on any information within our content, you do so solely at your own risk. We are careful with links we provide. However, third-party links from our website are followed at your own risk, and we are not responsible for any information you find there.